write the rules, you just quote them maybe. They throw dirt, but I bloom like daisies. Pressure make a queen, can't faze me. Walk in, shut it down. Bossy with a grin, I ain't waiting on respect. That respect built in. When they see me, they salute, cause the crown legit. And if you try to block the shine, you dismiss, bitch.
Raw G, stand tall, can't break me. Don't fall with me, don't fall with me. Bad black queen, whole world gon' see. Don't fall with me, don't fall with me.
Yeah, I'm a storm in Chanel, hurricane and some hills. Turn struggle into billions, manifest what's real. You pressing for a crown, sit back, chill. I was born in the throne and I've been no will. They whisper my name cause they know it here. Heavy talk slick on the net, but in person not ready. I'm the fire and the flood, can't box me in steady. Raw G, no cage, yeah my aim too deadly.
Raw G, don't play with me. Don't play. Queens run the board, checkmate, you see. Talk loud, but your moves too weak, too cheap. I'm the nightmare you feel when you go to sleep. Raw G, stand tall, can't break me. Don't fuck with me, don't fuck with me. Bad black queen, whole world gon' see. Don't fuck with me, don't fuck with me. Diamonds on my wrist, mine sharper than a key. Don't fuck with me, don't fuck with me. Step in the room, all eyes on she. Don't fuck with me, don't fuck with me.
Hey, listen, today was a very, very relaxing day at work. And I usually don't get them at work. Nobody called me. I ain't had to put out no fires. My supervisor was out of town. I had a really good day at work. Basically, like I ain't even lying. Like it was pretty cool. I can't even complain. Like yesterday, I literally can't complain. No. Mm. No, okay. I seen a notification, but I was busy, and I know what you're talking about, but I didn't see it. So I
disabled or what did you say, veterans and
mm. Mhm. Okay. I'm straight. Damn.
The elderly, right?
Or I about the black people pocket that it's going into because of the mental abuse that you got growing up to thinking black people were lazy. So stop it. Go ahead.
You just said black men was lazy, but let's get
No,
this.
I didn't. I didn't say black men were lazy. I said other
She
countries
said the
men
other they
work
work
She
too
hard.
said
hard.
that.
That's
Do
what
you
I
want me to
said.
go find the clip? I'm
She
cheating.
said they were
Go
lazy.
find the
Yeah,
clip.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Go
I
find
want
the
to see it.
clip.
I missed that. Hey, I
She
missed
said
that.
it before
Yeah,
you got up here.
you missed it 'cause
She told
it
Oh,
never happened.
dang. All right, let me see. I'm going to go back. If it
Go back.
happened.
Before
Just before I got up here?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to show it to you, too. You know I'm the clip master.
Also,
Hurry up. I got 10 minutes before I get off my lunch. Go ahead.
another first world issue: having kids you can't afford it, and then expecting
said you
everybody
can't
else to
afford?
have
It
those
has
kids when they're Tiffany, you're interrupting me at this point for
No,
real.
it's not. I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead.
So all the contraceptives in the world free, all the condoms in the world, all the birth control in the world.
Birth control ain't
This
free.
girl, let's talk about not having kids.
And then and then the rest of the world is supposed to be okay because you're negligent with your reproductive system.
You sound
That
crazy.
shit, that shit is negligent as hell. Having kids
You
you
sound
can't afford.
crazy, though.
So when the government decides to pull it back, if your kids have to suffer, let them suffer. It's your fault.
So you
It's
sound
terrible.
stupid because if bread goes up $10 a fucking loaf, is it my fault for having children? You sound
Yep.
stupid. It's the
Yep.
government. No,
Yep.
Sherelle.
Let 'em eat
When
less.
you do have
Let
children,
'em eat
then
less.
you understand.
Government-
But
food
since
is
you're
not- food is
childless,
not-
you don't
food
have
is
any
not- bread is not
understanding.
$10 a loaf.
Can we pause? Okay. So okay, let me gather something real quick because I know we reviewing Lucky, but let me gather something real quick. Okay. 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 Mm, okay. Let me get my little paper so I can keep up. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I got you. Mm, yeah. So I don't quite I definitely don't agree with Sherelle here because of the nuance of what was presented to her and how she just took a blanketed statement and just kind of pasted over everything. And while she can do that, in reality, amongst circles that are, that have that are very heavy in the financial division, what she just said is bad for one business. Two, it if you study anthropology and you study culture and socialism, anything relating around people, you would understand the danger in something as extreme as what she just said, like that blanketed statement, and how that trickles down very fast in a society where we have examples of societies in history that have had that same outlook, and we you don't see them anymore. Uh, okay, so it's like there's some evidence to support uh, why that statement is quite erroneous. One, but two, it's extreme of a situation, and I don't understand why she's taking that extreme of a position under such a nuanced question of if you have children and then society something happens and prices go up, is it your fault to have kids? And she's saying, well, yes, your kid, you're at fault for having kids, and your kids should starve because essentially you should have known that things was going to happen in society that nobody could, foresaw, and you shouldn't have had kids. How are you supposed to, like, when I think in terms of macroeconomics and then sociological structure in terms of like population bottling, this don't make no sense, and that's why I'm having a hard time putting it together. But I will say that I think she's being hyperbolic and responding emotionally. I don't think she's actually responding based on any hardline evidence. I think tyranny is maybe getting under her skin a bit for whatever reason, and she's just trying to essentially say, if you're not like me, somebody who has thought about what if society goes to shit tomorrow, I definitely don't want kids, that something's wrong with you. And it's like, okay, let me not delve too deep into the psychology and pathology of that. But yeah, I that's problematic just in general.
Dead homies, if I ain't got my stamps by November 3rd, I'm rolling up the big W cart full of food and I'm out the door. Got nothing left here. Kids wild, fridge empty. My man got my back, teeth or no teeth.
Hello, government. Yes, I just got a very credible threat from a reliable source, and I need you guys to unshut the shutdown. All right? Yes, if you don't release those stamps, it's going to be a stampede. You hear me? Well, I tell you what, you don't worry about why I'm yelling because it's... Hello.
You sound stupid to say it because
Okay. Hmm. 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 Definitely not. If you if you don't come from a family where your parents qualified while having you as a teenager and so on and so forth, like you really can't speak to that lifestyle. If you've never been a parent who had to facilitate life insurance for your kid and you've been told you in a donut or you make too much and then you realize like you don't make too much, they're just crazy. Like insurance is literally through the roof and don't have more than two people on that joint and have to pay for it. Like you're not like I don't know how you can have this conversation and not have that experience. Like what are you basing your statement on? Mhm. 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 Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the cost of living is going up, then it is my negligence to have children.
Yeah,
What
it's
do you think
negligent. It's
what do you
negligent
think
to
you
have
created
children you
for?
can't afford. It's
What
it's
you
borderline.
created for?
It's borderline child abuse to have children you
You
can't afford.
sound true. I'm not gonna argue with you.
Y'all should literally be neutered.
You sound stupid.
Y'all should,
Damn.
I'm
y'all
honest
should have
with
to
you.
take you should have to take mental tests and all of that to produce kids.
And I wonder how
Okay.
many kids she has
Hold on.
with that mentality. Hmm.
Hold on.
Yeah, I kind of I do agree. If you
It is. She was. Because here's the thing, we have a history in this country of the government, quote, neutering and spading black people. We have a whole history of that. If you go down to South America, there's still cases down there behind chemicals that companies here that were approved by the government to be footed down there that caused whole populations to be unable to have children, both males and females. Like there's evidence of that. So for her to say you guys should be knowing that that is a human right to have children, it's like it seems like they're having two different conversations. Tyranny is saying, hey, I have children and the cost of living is going up, so whereas I could afford my children in one state, now it's something else and my income is not keeping up with the changes that society is making, and there's no physical way for that to happen. Like everybody who works knows what I'm talking about. Now I don't know if this lady really works right here, but Shara, I don't know if she worked, if she got a job. I don't. She's online a lot. I don't know, but I do know I've seen Tyranny at work. I've seen her going and coming. Like I know she worked, but what I am saying is that they have not having the same conversation, because I would assume based on how Sherelle is responding that Tyranny is just some female that doesn't work, doesn't have money, but is having a bunch of kids and have no way to feed them, and she's barely homeless. Not a married woman taking care of 5 children and everybody's working in the home, living in a nice house, and is being supported as much as any woman can expect a man to be supported. Like, I'm sorry, the other way. I wouldn't have thought this is the case based on her reaction. So I'm a little split here. Like she's talking, but they're not having the same conversation.
They're not. And those of you in the vertical stream, please let me know if you can hear me now. I did adjust the levels of my microphone, so you should be able to hear me moving forward. Thank you kindly. So here's the thing, right? Sherelle does spend a lot of time online, but I think that streaming is now becoming people's work from home job. People are using online platforms to garner revenue and income. For all we know, Hamp is paying the people that are on his platform every day. And if he is, kudos to him. Because I cannot, absolutely would not, refuse to spend my days and nights being consistently on social media, and I'm not necessarily making the money that I could be making being outside in the world. But that's
Yeah.
And Tyranny actually has 6 children. She has 6 children and a husband, which means she has a family of 8. So a mother of 6 that still finds time to tap in on social media, that goes to work, that keeps up with her personal health care because she's in gyms. She goes to like Zumba and different things like that. Compared to a young woman that has no children and is carving her way through society on social media. And then remember, she does allegedly have residual income because she owns a trucking company.
So she can't afford children. That's why she don't have them.
Well, I mean, maybe because her ideology and her mindset, evidenced by what she said in this conversation, is if you can't afford children, you shouldn't have any. So, is it that she can't afford any, or that she's not in a position to be a married woman? Is it that she's just enjoying living her single best life? The world would never know. And we would have to actually ask Sherelle directly why it is that she doesn't have children. Because I'm not very clear if she owns a home or not or anything like that at this point. So
But she's making an argument. She's making the argument as if she has went that path herself to say, I chose not to have children because I can't afford it. That's hard body how I would think that she's making that claim, because she's lived that life. And if she has lived that life, then okay, cool. That's why she's saying that. But it's like, if she's saying, well, I can't afford children while owning a house, a company, and getting paid and all, and it's like you can't afford kids. It's not that you can't afford kids. Society is doing something that is never done in history. It's not that you can't afford kids. You can afford children, but you can't afford to send them to college if you're not making, hella dope sheets. And I ain't talking about no 150 either. Okay. Like you're not sending no 8 kids to college on 150K. That's not what you're doing. So I mean, yeah, you can afford, you can have kids and live and be okay. You can, but to have them and then live the fullest life they can possibly live in terms of what everybody wants, a house, picket fence, you know what I mean, the $500,000 house at minimum, all that might not be the case unless you got some serious help and whatnot. But it's like this attitude of you should be neutered. Now that right there, like, I'm wondering if she's saying that because maybe she got some issues herself with maybe not being neutered, but maybe, I don't know, some infertility,
the inability to have children. That's like I said, there's some things in these conversations that did give pause to, well, is it envy? Is it jealousy? Is it, bitter feelings because when people were in a rough place, they couldn't get assistance? Because it is hard to get assistance with SNAP and TANF if you aren't with children. But let's continue. Oh, child.
She said they should be neutered.
Yes,
that's exactly what we did not want to happen.
I just think I do agree that if you're aware that you are in dire straits and you are basically in poverty, you don't need to be bringing kids in the world. But to say to back big
neutered is crazy.
Neutered is nuts. But to piggyback off that, the reason why so many poor people have kids is because that's all they got time to do, unfortunately. Not making an excuse.
Which means that you have no work ethic and you want me to feel sorry for your able-bodied ass. Why?
I get you on that. I get you on that.
Okay, so here is where we have to make a hard stop. So y'all are over here as women making the statement that people that receive food stamps are able-bodied, have no work ethic, and you shouldn't feel sorry for them. So now we're going to get into a little bit of facts before we go back to reviewing this, because enough is enough. And we're going to do, yeah, this is when the grown-ups enter into the conversation. Well, let's look at SNAP food benefits in Texas.
Okay.
Now,
is it back the screen up? I can't see it.
Oh, my bad. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you. Appreciate you. Okay. Can you see well? We're gonna make it full screen.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then I'm gonna pull it over here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this like this, and I'm gonna make this like this. Okay. So what is SNAP food benefits? SNAP food benefits are the supplemental nutrition assistance programs, and it helps people buy the food they need for good health. The food they need for good health. People can also buy garden seeds with SNAP benefits. This is for Texas specifically. SNAP benefits are put on a Lone Star card and can be used just like a debit card at any store that accepts SNAPs. SNAP can't be used to buy tobacco, alcohols, things you can't eat or drink, or pay for food bills you owe. Effective April 21st, people that receive SNAP won't be able to buy candy or sweetened drinks, only water, which is good. But who is it for? SNAP benefits are for people in eligible low-income households. Most adults aged 18 to 54 with no children in their home can get SNAP only for 3 months in a 3-year period. So if you don't have any kids, you can only get SNAP for 3 months in Texas. Period. Pooh. The benefit period might be longer if the person works at least 20 hours a week or is in a job or training program. Well, there goes the able-bodied statement. Contrary to popular belief, most states have this and they always have. If you want to receive benefits, you have to work. The hope is that once you work 20 hours, you will have the ability to work more than 20 hours, and then you won't actually need as much benefits. That's the actual theology behind the law. Some adults might not have to work to get benefits, such as those who have a disability or are pregnant, which is letting you know, unless you are disabled or pregnant, you have to work in order to get your benefits. Households in which all members are either older adults aged 60 or older, or people with disabilities are eligible to participate in the Texas Simplified Application Project, which makes the SNAP application process easier and provides 3 years of benefits at a time instead of 6 months. Now, let's look at the income statutes, but let me know what you think about this portion before we go into the income limits, Lola.
So Maryland has actually an almost identical circumstance here, but Maryland was on it, let's say, a long time ago prior to other states. In terms of like the hours needed to be worked, you have to be in a training program. You can't just receive SNAP benefits, and especially if you don't have any children, it's a heightened eligibility issue there. I mean, I'm used to that. Like I've always known that since I was young. Everybody know you can get food stamps if you're working, but and if you are on TCA, meaning there's a reason why you're not working. But even if you're not working and you're on TCA, temporary cash assistance, you have to go to their work program every day. You can't, for 6 to 8 hours a day, you have to be in their work program. You can't just say, I'm on TCA, I'm at home just receiving. Like, I've never seen that. I've seen people get their cash benefits, and this is ever since the late 90s. I don't know about happening before then, but since the late 90s, you get your cash loaded and your food stamps, and for you to keep that, you got to go up to that social service building and participate in that work program, or you was in school, in college, or you was in like what's that joint in Virginia? I forgot. Job Corps, something like that. Like that's the only way you can receive TCA. Like so obviously it's the same for SNAP benefits. So to this point of, being able-bodied, that's written into the law code. So if anybody is not aware of that, it's because you are living so far outside of, let's say, normal society, because most Americans make around between $40,000 and $30,000 a year. And based on that chart you had at the bottom,
we're about to get there.
Okay, go ahead.
We're about to get there. So, okay, so now let's go to the income requirements for SNAP recipients. Because again, this is where people have life messed up. So, in Texas, and most states are very similar, it just depends on the poverty level for that state. A family size of 1, your maximum gross monthly income is allowed to be $2,152. In a family case like Tyranny's family size, $7,446.
How much is that a year?
That is, let me do the math on that. Give me 1 minute. Because I calculated it, but it gets deeper. And I'm going to let you know when people be talking about able bodied that they don't really know anything at all. So that's $89,352 a year.
That you can make and still receive that.
That you can make and qualify
Mm-hmm.
for food stamps for a family of 8. Now, what does a family of 8 qualify for in Texas with making $89,352? Well, they will qualify for $1,789 in food stamps.
And that's the bare minimum that the state feels humans should eat. Meaning that's not no extra like money for like actual like nice food and shit. That's not, trust that.
No, that's the maximum. These numbers are indicative of the maximum benefit a household can get per family size. Right? So there's more. We're gonna get to it. Because, and then let me pull this one over here too while I'm moving things over. Well, we are having this conversation and people are talking the stuff, the shite that they are talking. I'm sitting here like, so y'all have these families with women that have boatloads of children. Y'all are acting like you are silver spoons out this piece.
Mm-hmm.
All the people that I've seen talking about this, like you've never grown up with members of your family being on social services. Now, what you are projecting to society is the family members that you've existed around, that got government assistance, that they were able-bodied and they weren't doing anything, which is unfortunate. However, more than 65% of the 42 million people that may not get food stamps in November are actually hardworking Americans. Depending on their family size, it depends on the income that they are allowed to have and still receive assistance to make sure that their family is eating good and healthy food. Remember, SNAP is Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. But the mentality, especially in Black spaces, especially in Black culture, especially among FBAs, power to the people, RUF, and all of this and all of that, is that, oh, well, the people that are on EBT are the scum of the earth. And newsflash, per capita, Caucasians are the highest recipients of temporary assistance for needy families, which is TANF, which is that cash assistance. It's a minute number per capita of white families and Black families that are receiving supplemental nutrition assistance program benefits, which you cannot get, as we have taken and learned today as a class, which you cannot get unless you're working. So when y'all say that black people is out here and they're just getting food stamps and they not working, the lie detector determined that in fact was a lie. All of you people that are out here losing your mind because Donald Trump stated again emphatically in the big beautiful bill that you have to work 20 weeks if your children are within certain age parameters, guess what? The gag and the drag is that's already been in law. That's why he didn't get any pushback from Congress and the Senate, because that already is the law and the standard. It was a simple modification to include under 16 years of age, because before it was 16 years of age had to be working. Now it's okay, there's a little gap where the mom, all right, now we're not going to just say because you had a kid, you have extended time. Because these people that are out here, they've also argued the big beautiful bill. But let's, like I said, we have some allowances to get into, to explore. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. It's not my fault. I'm intelligent. Some people just need to know how to use Google. shit, everybody could do it.
Can we address the poor people that have nothing to do? Comment. Um, I find that interesting because when I watch documentaries about why your lower income people in, let's say, your more third world countries, the lower the income, the more children they have. When you really looked at why that happened, it was because children are a resource, meaning they help you with your business, they help you in them crops. That's why children in America gets a summer break, because it was time for them to go help their parents in the actual literal field. That's where that comes from. So that's why children in the countries that are not first world, they still are operating in the way the US used to operate back in the 1800s and the 1700s and so on. So when it comes to why they have the amount of children that they have, um it plays a functional role in everybody eating, everybody adding to the pot. That's how that is. However, in this society, there's too many rules on children working. There's too many rules on where people can work. There's too many rules on daycare. There's too many rules on leaving your children, keep staying at home, working, all this whole thing, for us to have the same structure as a third world country. And I'll be honest with you, it's a problem, because you got poor women who are having a lot of children, and then you have rich women who tend not to have a lot of children on the scale. Women, as you go up, they tend to have less and less and less children. Now you would think, well, there's more money. Why are there less children? Like, why?
Because
Lazy?
no, there's an answer to that. Because the more money you have, what people, this is how I know a lot of people aren't really six figures like they claim they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been telling y'all forever and a year, what is six figures in America? It's not anything.
Good Lord.
And people that are earning six figures or more will tell you, you slide into different tax brackets, which means you have a higher fiduciary responsibility to the United States government, which means you bring home less money in your paycheck in all actuality, even though your gross income or your gross salary is over six figures. Then as you progress up the economic chain, the eco chain, okay, you also have to pay more money in healthcare because you're not getting any subsidies for healthcare plan premiums. And plan premiums can get pretty expensive and pretty extensive, especially when you have dependents. Because if your income is too high, you don't even qualify for any discounted plans, not even through the Affordable Care Act. You still have to pay the full premium plan. Then you have to start investing into 529, C3, whatever. 401ks, you have to save money away, because if something happens to you, nobody can go to welfare and get any assistance, because they don't count your money for tomorrow. They count your money for today. As a matter of fact, they count your money for the past month minimum. So if a woman has a husband and they are doing well, let's say they're doing 90,000 a year. She wouldn't qualify. No.
How much is your rent? Let's start there for 90,000. What you paying in rent?
You have to be paying at least 30,000 of that in rent or mortgage, because if you're renting, all you good high value people know, you have to earn 3 times your rent in order to be able to rent anywhere in America.
I'm just saying 90,000 before tax, and then your rent is based on the before tax, not the after tax. So 90,000 for you and somebody else and kids. Like, I don't see it. Yeah.
So let's do some quick math. So let's say for a house that will be able to house 6 kids and 2 adults, you need at least 4 bedrooms minimum. So you're looking at a good 2,500 to 3,000, which means,
especially in Texas.
Right, which means you need to be earning $9,000 in income.
Ain't nobody. Come on. the average American is not earning $9,000. The average 20% ain't doing that. I mean, you like a 10% that's doing over that or near or over 100,000. Then you got that tiny 1% that's doing that millionaire status stuff. But it's like, here's what I'm saying: the SNAP benefits for a family of 8 will be given to somebody making roughly 90K, because you can't afford to live without that making 90K.
Well, the median salary in the United States of America presently is roughly $60,000 a year.
Now, I don't know where these people live at. Where's you said Texas? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, but so let's go a little deeper. Let's go a little deeper into the allowances, because people know so much about social services. And no, I'm not on social services, but I do work in the field. So how do we determine monthly income for SNAP benefits? So they're going to add all the sources of income: earned income from work, unearned income sources like some benefits, child support, whatever. Now, they have some deductions. Okay? So, they will deduct medical expenses, child care, dependent care, credit deduction, child support deduction, excess shelter deductions. This deduction specifically is for households with high shelter costs, rent, mortgage, and utilities that exceed a certain percentage of their income. So how Texas does it is they multiply your net monthly income by 0.3. So now we have determined that net monthly income for a family of 3 is $89,352. Times that by 0.3. That's $26,805. Boom. Right? Round the result to the next highest whole dollar amount. Boom. The maximum monthly allotment is, well, let's see. What did we say it was? It was $1,800 and something for a family of 8, because $994 is the deduction for a family of 4 plus $994 for a family of 8. That's $1,988. My God, today. So let me write that down. Lola, write that down. 1,988. Okay, so now 8,903.52 divided by 12, that is $7,446. Okay, times 0.3, that's $2,233.80. Okay, minus $1,988. That's $245.08. Child, please. That means that is the amount that is taken away from the maximum benefit for SNAP benefits. So instead of getting $1,752, you would get $1,500 in food stamps. So when we're talking about these people that are having these enormous emotional reactions to the benefits that people are getting, what? Anyway, let's get back to this video, chat.
Now, my thing is, let's not forget about the people way in the back of the room. Okay, that is like me, that don't qualify. But if anybody ever selling them shits, you already know what time it is. Half for half, okay, half for a whole, okay. Like, I mean, what about those people? Okay, like we forget about those poor people too. You know what I mean? The poor people that's making almost $100 grand buying stamps and shit. Like, what about them? Yeah, they not hard working. I'm sorry. Yeah, those people.
So, Prime, I get what you're saying, but the undersecretary at the United States Department of Agriculture said they cannot use contingency funds to refund food stamp aid, because those contingency funds are for actual emergencies. And there are hurricanes right now that are set to hit Florida. Prayers up for Florida and Jamaica and Haiti. That whole area is about to be in bad ways. They have to have a reserve for those people. So I don't know how this is going to play out, nor do I care. What I'm talking about.
I found out today. I got an email that in DC, Mayor Bowser, they are taking out of their budget to fund the DC residents during this time where they are not receiving SNAP benefits during the month of November specifically. So that's now, granted, they are squeezing the hell out of that, but they're doing that to satisfy at least DC for the time being. Now I don't know about Maryland and Virginia, but I do know DC is doing that out their own budget.
Yeah, and I did see senators writing to Governor Huckabee here in Arkansas to create a law to take care of the people of the state. But what a lot of people don't realize is it's up to your individual state right now. The states are governing themselves as they should have been doing all along. So if your state decides to fund, food stamps for the people under their constituency, then know that there probably won't be extra activities that go on throughout the summer months or something like that, unless people in the community decide to also give back because the federal government is not refunding them. But let's go back to this video and these interesting takes and see.
You should always want to, level
Okay,
yourself
so
up to
Sherelle
do
does
better for
not
yourself.
have children, personally knowing.
Yeah,
But
and
the thing is, I said Sherelle doesn't have children. That's the girl on the right. But the thing is that I do agree with the fact, and even in my live stream, that it is abusive. Neglect is a form of abuse. And sometimes we don't acknowledge certain abuse because it's not just physical. But these children, you're not able to think, you're not able to learn, you have behavioral issues when you're not able to get the right nutrients. Even still, right? When you see these people, the fact that you don't have it in your mind to, when you have that first child, to do the best you can to provide for them, we think, oh, as long as I could feed them and put some half-ass decent clothes on them, I'm raising them and I get them to school. That's not it. That's not raising that kid, because then you're having other children and you're saying, feel sorry for me. It's hard out here. Most of the issues and the things in our lives that makes it hard are our decisions. Is literally our decision. So if it was hard with the first one, or maybe you was in a good financial spot, which really that is not the case, because even a person who had a good career or a good supportive family or a good relationship with a man or a woman, even when they fall off, it don't look like some of these people's fall off when they have multiple kids. You know what I'm saying? They kind of generally know what to do. The fact that people who are in these situations finds themselves to lay on their back and have other children, there has to be something mentally wrong with people who are in impoverished situations that I'm willing to look into, not even being funny. Because that dates back to that documentary I did, I was saying before, years ago in like 1970 something, in the projects. They were having multiple children and they weren't even out of school yet, but they had no father. They barely had any education. Some of them didn't want to go to school because they felt dumb or whatever the case may be. But it's just the fact of, like, if you have children and then they have fathers, so it's like you're saying that none of the fathers can help, or nobody can help you with the kids. You don't have a family structure to the point where it's just you and these kids. You're their only hope. So if that's the case, it's just like, why would you put yourself in a situation again? So I think that's where it gets harder for people. And I think that goes on the government. There should be, look, we can help you with your first kid, and then if you have another a child that you want to apply to put on the system within a year or within an X amount of years that you can't afford, we need to look into you as a person and figure out, why do you keep having children you keep asking us to help with you with. I think the country should be a lot stricter in other areas, not just take it away. Because people like that, it's like, no, we helping you with one kid. Then you need to submit some sort of evaluation as to why can't you have children, because then we don't want to be the big scary government that says you need to have your kids, or abort, pro-choice. That's when you get into that conversation. But we don't want to be controlling what you do with your body. But goddamn, you keep coming over here asking me for help.
So, Lola, darling. First of all, let's address what she just said about governments in control. Now, you and I, we've had these conversations before. I know a lot of people don't catch up into it. But can you talk to the audience about what happened with China? Because China, in fact, did have a one-child rule. China, in fact, was regulating what women were doing with their bodies, how women could have children, how women couldn't have children. What happened in the long run? Tell them. Tell them about the gun line, boys. Tell them about the gun line.
in the long run, they ran into a problem where their government, they're not doing well as a government, despite what they want to portray to the world, because of the bottleneck in population that happened, and they're not able to readily, let's say, reproduce at a rate to satisfy their needs as a government for taxation. For instance, you have damn near no families anymore because all of the women are in such a shrinkage of a population that most of them want to be educated, and they don't want to make families because they're making more money, like Shorty said. So you have a very small amount of women available to a large section of males, just in general, right? And so now you have what's called the bottleneck in society, where you don't have enough people to support further generations. You don't have enough people to support in terms of taxing families. Is really where the government gets its money cash at. Like, that's where, for instance, like here in Disney World is taking a hit. They're not collecting as much money. Thus, Disney is not paying as much taxes on their funds because they're not collecting as much money, because people have less children, less families, less marriages, and then the government suffers. So this is the same thing, and they have the same circumstances in China. And so they're having to think of new ways to combat the fact that they spent decades controlling people's bodies, not just women, people's bodies, and to the point where they felt like, okay, we're okay with the amount of people we have. But now they have a culture where the men don't want to be with the women marry out and go out 3 times the rate of all races, and then they don't have any more family structure there. People think they do because they see them here in America, right? But that's not really the reality in China. China, they have a population deficit there, and not just a deficit in terms of per number, but a deficit in terms of families, because families is where the taxes are coming from. Individuals living with mom and dad, barely working, is not where the government is getting their cash cow from. That's just not it. So, I mean, if you really want to look at what the government has, what the government has in controlling people's bodies, if the government is not thinking long range and taking like account of other governments' problems like that, the government knows that it will literally be the death of itself trying to overregulate in that way, as China has overregulated, and now they're having to reel it back. So this is why you see China reaching out in Africa as much as they can, because there's nowhere to reach in China.
Now see. But at least the conversations are being had, no matter how delusional, honey, no matter how delusional. But I also am tired of people with this bullshit ass conversation. Like, let's talk about it for real. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. The portion of the U.S. gross domestic product used for supplemental nutritional assistance program benefits is less than half of 1%. For context, SNAP spending in recent fiscal years has been, in fiscal year 2024, the federal government spent approximately $100.3 billion on SNAP, which was about 1.5% of all federal spending.
God dang.
In fiscal year 2023, spending totaled approximately $113 billion, which amounted to 1.8% of total federal spending. SNAP is a counter-cyclical program, meaning spending money automatically expands during economic downturns and contracts when the economy strengthens. While spending peaked during the pandemic, it has since fallen and is projected to continue declining as a share of the GDP over the next decade. So when people are having these conversations, all these big money people, all these thousandaires, honey. I'm 6 figures and I'm about that life, and I know. And these people is draining the economy. They're draining the economy. Are you sure?
1.8%. Are you kidding me?
Not
the way
even
they talk, you would think it was at least 30%. The way niggas is talking.
Nah, it's like 70% according to them. Per capita, people on social programs, which also includes Medicare, Medicaid, unemployment, housing assistance, All of those programs.
All of that for one. So basically, you just take food stamp benefits is such a small pointage that now we into the 3 point. Okay.
And it's
so
only
this
that high.
Yes. This why they made it. That okay.
And it's only that high because of the pandemic. Because the total amount of the GDP that is spent through social programmings before the pandemic was in fact like 1.2%. Some of us actually watch the filibuster on the floor. Some of us actually know what these government shutdowns are truly about. Some of us actually know while they emotionally tether you to the topic by bringing in things like food stamps and 42 million people are going to be without food. The real thing is they're trying to push other initiatives to really stick it up the pie hole and the end of it all. Just like all y'all were talking about Roe v. Wade, but y'all clearly missed the part where the Supreme Court in that round also repealed Miranda. But everybody was out here talking about, well, these women not going to be able to get deletions. Yeah, they are. Just the states now control if the state is going to pay for it or not. But let y'all tell you, y'all was giving the women money to go down to the clinic because they benefits wasn't covered in no way, right?
Well, let me tell you something, and you ain't hear it from me. You're not mom's word, but some of that 1.8 to 1.8 or 1.23 is black budgets for things that they say is social services, but it ain't. Some of that, but you ain't hear from me.
Not they got padded accounts, honey. Not they petty cash in the office with some of that GDP money. I mean, you heard a lot
coded under that is coded under social services,
right?
That's
like when your office manager leave with a ice maker, but y'all supposed to be buying stuff for the residents of your facility. That's coded under social program. You know, whatever, because y'all know it all. Y'all know it all. This is why I just let people have it like, oh, that's what it is. And the gag and the drag of it all is America. Miracle. Hey, boobs. Even if the government does shut down and nobody gets food stamps, the people that are actually working as they are supposed to in order to receive their SNAP benefits are not going to starve. Will people get a little leaner in November? Sure, absolutely. But guess what? Obesity is also an epidemic in the United States of America. Why? Because that food pyramid that they told you that you needed to eat from certain groups in order to be healthy is full of shit. We don't need dairy at all.
At all.
We don't need cheese. That was a way to filter out and not have waste in a market, in agricultural markets, where milk is a byproduct of having cows, and Americans like beef, and beef is actually nutritionally sound to eat in your diet, even though it takes longer to digest if you overcook it. Milk is a natural byproduct, and what do we do with all that excess milk? You make cheese, yogurt, ice cream, cottage cheese, and some more shit. And you market it and you pump it out so that the agro farmers have more revenue. Shout out to Middle America. Yeah? But also, I'm going to take y'all all the way back through history for a moment. The year was 1919. The stock market was done. The Fed was disbanded because it was found to be against the interests of the American public. And then it was the Great Depression.
There we go.
Where Americans had to stand in lines to get a loaf of bread. Maybe on occasion some government cheese. And
I'm sure they was I'm sure before that happened, they had good jobs. And then suddenly those men that was working hard and taking care of their families, they ain't had nothing. And then they had to go in lines. And some of them, I remember, if I recall, committed suicide over that because it just, life wasn't like it was supposed to be anymore. And usually it wasn't a lot of women out there working, it was mostly men. So, shout out to those men who were able bodied, but they were poor and wasn't doing much with themselves and found their way to a soup kitchen and took all those damn pictures.
Right, but I mean, prime. If you were Jewish, you would eat a burger with no cheese. The Jewish people don't believe in putting dairy with meat. That's a no-no. It's a religious
Mm.
no-no. So that's a whole nother conversation. Maybe we'll do an FBI on that one of these days. But shout out to all my Jewish people. Lahaim, Shabbat Shalom. I know a lot of people give y'all a bad rap, but I see you. Y'all do y'all thing. But back to the point that I was making. America didn't fall and America didn't tarry. America has gone through some hard, harsh times.
Yeah.
And always rallied back. So if we do have an economic downturn right now, do you really think it's going to be over? It's going to be the birth of innovation. But what is not helping it is the social media hype up. Y'all are like the worst hype men ever. Y'all see people talking about we're going to steal from the store. What? Oh, I can't believe they're going to do that. And that's just low rent and da-da-da-da. And y'all passing the messages around, making these videos go viral, encouraging other people to do the same in turn, so much so that people wind up on World Star because they're literally repeating a script verbatim. I have heard the same script verbatim from so many content creators that what was shock and awe initially is now like, oh, y'all clout farming.
I've seen it. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when I go to get my groceries for my children, because I don't qualify for food stamps at all. No shade to anybody that does. But we have to get it out the mud over here. Lola has to get it out the mud over here.
Out the dry mud out there.
We don't want to go to facts. We don't want to go to the grocery store and be told, well, you can't come in the grocery store because we are worried about shrinkage. So we are now having everybody place their orders in advance for pickup. I'm not going to be affected. Now, Lola might, because Lola hard-headed, and she still go to the grocery store. My black behind has my groceries delivered always, so it's not going to mean anything to me. But a lot of y'all are going to be in shock and awe, pissed off when you're looking at the delivery fee, the tip fee, the pre-authorization to your card, because they have to charge you extra just in case the weighted items go over the projected amount that they have inside of the apparatus that you're shopping off of, and then waiting the 3 to 5 business days to get the refund back. Some of y'all can't do that. Y'all can't do that. I'm just anyway, let's go back to the video. I'm just saying real quick. But what I also don't do, paying cash money, American dollars for food, is turn my nose down to anybody that's getting food stamps. Because if you qualify, then you qualify. And maybe no food stamps November is the push that people need to do a little bit more. But I also know how devastating that will be to all economic classes if people start robbing and looting. Child.
Yeah, that's going to affect everybody, whether you got food stamps or not. If you can't go to the market, or there's not enough delivery people on Instagram, Instacart, like it's going to affect everybody. So I don't even know why they acting like, shout out, those people should starve. And it's like, and here's the thing, right? Let's suppose
wait. Hold on. Wait. Because what about when the people decide they ain't driving for Instacart and they ain't driving for DoorDash because those that cannot afford food are lurking outside waiting to rob them?
Now, see.
Look, why high is spot on. What happens if delivery service personnel takes food for themselves? Why high? They already do that. Why high? I be having mad refunds that I be waiting for from my shoppers right? Because I'll order one thing, they be like, it ain't in the store, and then they buy something else that's completely different from what it is that I wanted. It don't wind up in my bag. Then I gotta go in the app like, this never arrived, this never arrived, this never arrived. It's going to be chaos. Go ahead, Lola. Finish your thought.
Well, I'll say this: if that happens, what was it, up in Baltimore? There's a what is it, the farmers market, and out here, out in the county, there's individual farms that sell food specifically. You got to know where you're going. Like some farms that sell eggs, other farms that sell like fruit, and then vegetables, and then there's the butchers, like the halal meat places that's a market too. Trust me, you ain't running up in that Muslim store. Okay, they keep the thang out there. Okay, in that store, and they don't give a. So so I listen, I'm right around the corner. Okay, I'll come with all of my money.
Somebody asked me today, listen, y'all better leave them Muslim people alone. Leave them alone. They ain't bothering you, man. They ain't bothering you. They ain't bothering you.
Hey,
child.
Hey, I'll be right up there. They're like, can I get 4 pounds of halal chicken?
Riaz, I know a lot about halal meat. I told y'all about that too. Y'all don't be listening when I be telling y'all. I be giving y'all the clues. Y'all don't listen. But let's get back to this video. I'ma survive. I know that.
Being free to do with your body, you also can take your body to work. You also can, do some other shit, girl. Like, I don't know. But yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. You don't say nothing about the rich.
Have kids. It's ridiculous.
So again, because rent is $1,500 for 1 bedroom, I'm negligent for having a family.
Mm-hmm.
You're ignorant towards the wrong people.
If you can't afford,
so
if you can't afford it,
no, baby, you're okay with being a single woman. I love being a mother. And that's why I work. That's why I have an education.
I'm not crying.
My kids ain't gonna be complaining about Trump doing what Trump.
Well, Tierney, I am so happy you are here and you are at work. I hope you are working those extra hours so you can't, cry about EBT. Let's keep going.
No,
that was
my kids
that was shady right there. That was shade right there. I ain't even going for it. That was bad shade. Like, she crying about it. Who crying? Like, who's crying? She's talking about what's really happening with people who have it, because she is on it, and she's the best person to talk about it. She's working, she's married, she has children, she's had children before this. Like, like, she's not lazy, like, at all. Like, so this is what this is about. Even me. Like, if I showed you how I be skimping out this bitch and I'm 6 figures, like, come on now, yo.
This is the thing, like,
bro, tell them how much I be like skimping on lunch and shit. And if I gotta go buy lunch, it just ruined my whole day. Like,
it do. Like, she literally be like, no, I don't want to do it. I'll be like, girl, just go ahead. No. All right.
Bro will tell me, just buy them. You need it. Like,
listen, me and Lola have so many conversations all the time. Let me tell you something. This is why your birthday present, it meant so much to me, because I was like, this one don't spend nothing. I was like, this is from who? My sis. So, listen, but also, Sherelle was being shady too. Well, my kids ain't gonna be hungry. Make it make sense. I'm gonna need y'all logic to make sense. If the girl on food stamps, her kids ain't hungry. Logic predicates. They ain't going hungry, they eating well. And that her kids probably got all the snacks, and there ain't no shade to Tyranny, okay? She don't never have to force them kids to eat just one meal, which the majority of people in America, if you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, your family cooked the meal. You were sitting at that table until your food was done, because there was no other option to make sure that you didn't go hungry. Am I lying or not?
Listen, now I remember back in the 90s, in the early 90s, when my sister used to send me to the store with her food stamps, like the physical, like dollars, the dollar stamps. Yeah, I remember that. And I remember like that those was hard times for real. My sister was working 2.5 jobs at the time, receiving food stamps.
No.
Oh, no, and she was married, by the way. He was working full time at Giant. He was a manager. She was a server at 2 different restaurants, and she had a little side gig. And she listen, it was hard times. Okay, I remember that.
You lying because she not able-bodied, and because she should have just made a decision to not have no kids because she didn't want her kids to be hungry.
So let me ask you, what is affordability for children? How much do you need to make to afford a child? Let me ask it, because see, we talking about this and we hearing you can't afford it, and it's like, what is affordability for a child?
Affordability for a child, on average, over the lifetime of the child from 0 to 18 years old, is $250,000.
So how much you gotta make to have a kid?
Okay, so let's see. Damn it, she always trying to make me do math. You always trying to make me do math. Always trying to make me do math. Jesus Christ, Saturday, 6 in the morning. Hold on, y'all. 200, okay, $250,000 divided by 18 years. That is $13,888.90 a year.
That's how much you gotta make to afford
one child.
26 for 2.
Yeah.
And Tyranny probably doing like what, 40?
I mean, we can safely say.
Well, no, they doing 89 and they got it. So okay. So she could
acting like, yeah, they acting like Tyranny is just a bum bitch and she ain't doing shit. They acting like all the women, all the men, all the elderly on social services just sitting around doing nothing. They ain't doing shit. They don't want me to start breaking down Section 8 housing numbers and how you can get Section 8 making $99,950 a year. It's considered low income.
And don't come to places like DC. That ain't even low income.
Look. We reviewing this video, but we ain't really reviewing this video, child. Y'all so disrespectful that we done only looked at like 10 minutes. That in 10 minutes of it, we gobsmacked. Okay. I believe the question is, how much do you need to know? Exactly, Marvelous. You need to know a lot. But financially, you only need less than $14,000 a year, honey. That's McDonald's salary. But so for the Houston area,
okay,
the very low income limits for Section 8 for 2024 were as follows: $33,150 for a one-person household. My God, today, $62,450 for an 8-person household. The extremely low income limits for family 8. We ain't even gonna break it. We just gonna go to family 8 because we using Tyranny, since everybody wants to use Tyranny and shit all over her life because she shared her experience and her life story. We gonna fucking get into it from the perspective of a family of 8. Extremely low income limits, $37,500, which is about what a lot of the people that be on social media every day make. But low income limits, 80% of an area's median income. What'd that say, Lola? Because I can't read. I must be slow.
$99,950.
Damn. So you mean to tell me somebody could gift you $50 and bump you into 6 figures and you still qualify for Section 8? But you know, people on social media, down to the socials and the media, they be talking real. And I'm gonna also say this: most people on social media talking mess. They live with their family. They don't live on their own. They don't live on their own, and they don't really have a full understanding of what it is to budget for a household. Now, me and Lola here, we can tell you what it is to budget for a household. See, you're talking about not only rent, vehicle payment.
Let me break my little thing down from all my bill. Okay, let me break that thing. Let me get it for you now, cause see, we got no. All right, so if you got a mortgage, okay, you're paying your mortgage one, and not to forget your insurance. So you have to have that, okay? Those are two things you have to have. Now, if
No. You
no
break that
insurance,
down. No, you break that down. Because people don't understand when there's a mortgage, honey, you have to have homeowners insurance.
correct.
And
Yeah,
when you're
homeowner.
renting, in most places, you have to have renters insurance as well. It's
That
a
part,
part of
yeah.
your lease agreement. Continue.
Yeah, now unless you're in the ghetto, okay, and they let you get away with that, that's what you're gonna pay. Now that right there, like she said, for one bedroom is $1,500. That's about the average it is here in Maryland, and that's on the low end of West Baltimore. Okay, shout out to Lexington Terrace. You will get killed walking through there. Seriously, like I've seen people walking and just getting shot, like random people. And I was inside doors. That's why I like don't stand next to the windows. But that right there will get you $1,500. So if you want to bump up to just the bad neighborhood with the bad people standing around, you can pay roughly $2,000 for one bedroom. Now, if you have two people, I don't know what you're gonna do. Now, that's just for rent and that. So if you have a vehicle to get to work, you will pay for your vehicle and you will pay for the gas and the insurance on said vehicle. So we're up to how many bills is that? 4 bills. Okay. Then if you're gonna have that, or I said the gas, you also need to feed yourself. Now, feeding yourself, as you can clearly see, is not groceries have gone up. Eggs is $1,000 a carton. All right. Now, because you are like Sherelle said, you know, I mean, you're intelligent. You have health insurance. God help you. Now, if you got a house, you pay for the water. Okay, and that's on some other shit. And if you're paying for water, you're paying for gas and electric. And if you're paying for gas and electric, you are also paying for any type of cable that you need or internet so that you can work from home. All right. Now, because you pay for cable and the internet, okay, you might have a bill from smaller companies that might charge you on a monthly basis, and that's usually around $100 a month. If you have any type of school loans, all of your money is gone. But if those loans are just like payday loans, they're personal loans, line of credit loans, credit card bills that you had to pay because you know, I mean, you couldn't afford shit. You also have that too. Now, those are just the bills. Now, if you got kids, you got to pay for lunches, which is not part of your daily groceries. That's a little extra, especially in school, unless they get free lunch. And then on top of that, you have to pay for clothing, shoes. It also is good to have life insurance in case something happens to them or you. Somebody can bury somebody. Okay. You also have to have health insurance on them. All right. Keep that in mind. You have to have health insurance on them. If there is any extracurricular activities for your children, you have to pay for that. That is not free. And I'll use my son as an example. His jujitsu is $200 a month. His martial arts class is I'm getting the discount. Okay, at $120 a month. Okay.
Let's not talk about emergencies.
Right. And that's not even talking about the emergencies. Okay. Now he needs an allowance so that he won't keep begging me for everything. Okay, so that's $100 a month. Where we at with this boy? 2, 3, 1. Okay, it's that. And also, okay, I said health insurance, dental. Children need dental. You got to keep that. Okay, you can't not have that. And obviously,
God forbid they need braces.
Yeah, God. Oh, if they need braces, you have to qualify. They have to qualify through a program in order to get that at a discount. If you cannot get that at a discount, the price for that dental work will have you feeling like you rather let the child have an abscess. That's just for that. So outside of those bills, you see, there's other bills here that I have, but these are more personal bills. Like my son goes to get his hair done. That's $100 a pop every single time. There's also Netflix. You feel me? There's also, I need to save $2 so that next month I can spend it on what I really need. There's hygiene products. There's a lot that goes into that.
Hygiene.
And like, yeah, hygiene. You gotta buy hygiene and shit.
No. Remember, because the one girl told me that she didn't understand why I have foot cream, foot lotion, on the top of my, she ain't know. Like, you get that shit on a sale, bitch, and you stock up, ho. Yeah. Go to Sam's Club. I'm sorry, they ain't shopping at Sam's Club.
I just saying. Now those are your regular bills. Now for the house, if something happens, for instance, I had a bat infestation, I had a bee infestation, I had a water main break. What else? I had to have somebody come and fix the siding. These are all things, and this just happened recently. These are all things I had paid for out my pocket. Okay. And when you got contractors coming in like Roto-Rooter and shit like that, it ain't $50. Okay, it's more like $2,000 for the low income package. So this is stuff that always happens. Replacing the washer and dryer, had to do that too. Now that right there, listen, I know how to wash in the tub like Kamala Harris. Okay, I'm not replacing that right now. I don't care. So these are things that come with a house, and even if you're renting, this is shit that come with your house. So I don't know what they talking about. Like, oh well, you just ain't running and you got the bills, and I'm like, yo, I am scared out here. And keep in mind, I only got one child I'm taking care of. My oldest two are grown and out the house, but even just that one child, I'm paying a lot of money just to have him, and then to house him, house myself. I didn't say buy myself a damn thing. You notice I didn't put that in there.
I did notice that. I did, but see, this is the thing that people don't understand. God forbid you have boy children, right? Because these kids will eat you out of house and home. I can show you guys my grocery bills, and you won't see no EBT food stamps on it. And what I spend on groceries for a family of 4, okay, I have 2 children. For a family of 4, what is spent on groceries in this household is utterly ridiculous. Now, remind you, you guys have seen Michael. Michael is real thin. But Michael eats like the biggest big back in Bacchiana. Okay? And we are going to talk about how when you send your kids to school and they don't go to public school, so they don't get school lunch. So then you have to pack them lunch every day too. See, you are now funding food for 2 locations. All right? Or like when we went to her singing competition. And the kids there were hungry because the prices they were trying to gouge these children for, they didn't have enough money to get snacks and stuff at school. So then you're talking about gas money to drive to locations that are an hour away from your households. And also because you're, a team mom, making sure that all the children there have some water, have some snacks, have some type of sustenance so they can make it through the day. That was bread. That was some bread that it cooked, because it wasn't like 2 kids, okay? It was like 40 kids that went from actually, no, I'm lying. It was more than that, but we had all chipped in as moms, all the moms that went to chaperone. So we all had our husbands come and bring a little something to these kids because we looked at the price list and what they were feeding them. But, just to make blanket statements like that. And when it comes down to child support and what other parents are contributing, you don't know what that life is. Oh shit. You don't know what that life is about because you're not living it. How do you know? She just gave you one little thing and y'all went off to the races. She didn't even get an opportunity to share anything more with you because you were so judgmental from the beginning. Let's continue.
Family. Your anger is towards the wrong people.
If you can't afford it.
No, baby. You're okay with being a single woman. I love being a mother. I love being a mother. And that's why I work. That's why I have an education.
I'm not crying
wow.
My kids ain't gonna be home.
About something
well, Tierney, I am so happy you are here. You are at work. I hope you are working those extra hours so you can, cry about EBT.
You said pause.
No, I see her I see her down here.
That's what Trump gonna do.
But it's just you want to be dependent on a country to have kids you can't take care of, and then expect the same country that you want to critique in a negative way to take care of you and your illegitimate.
I know you're not talking.
What she was about to say about them kids?
She said,
hold on, let me pause this. Was Sherelle, would you like to call that woman's kids little demonic ass kids?
I heard her say you're illegitimate kid.
Child, wait a minute. Is that what she said, child? It was too much for me.
Fucking illegitimate. She said illegitimate. So here's my thing, right? So yeah, this is what I like because see, I know Sherelle didn't have sex outside of marriage, and that's an act of procreation. I know she did. So she was trying to have an illegitimate child, but because she missed and couldn't do it, now suddenly she want to claim everybody else doing some wrong shit, having illegitimate children. This is the hypocrisy right here. Okay. Now last I checked, the first social services welfare was for women who were married. That's how we got here. Married people
1935.
was having the problem of the century and needed social services. It was for married people, right? But then they made the issue of married women getting remarried, and they still, because it's hard times, taking away their substance for their children. So it merged into women who just have children. Then it merged into families, including men that have children. Now it's grandparents, and now it then went all over the place because needs have changed since over there. So we're not talking about illegitimate children. How 30% of all child support cases is paid to non-custodial, non-mothers and fathers. 30% of child support cases are paid to people who are not the mother or the father. 30%. That leaves 70%. So who you think make up that other 70%? It ain't all men. So here's the problem. Illegitimate, a lot of that are married people that are now, having to pay child support. Well, what the fuck? Why is it that you want to make an issue out of how the child came to be in terms of the marital status versus the fact that the child needs money because one of their parents or both of their parents don't make $100,000 a year?
How about
like,
this?
what are we doing?
How about this? Let's take it deeper. Most children, especially in the African American community that are born from 1970 until 2025, are illegitimate. See, you don't get to throw those terms out unless you're like an old money person. Unless you can say that your mother and your father were married when they had you, and their mother and their father were married when they had them, and so on and so forth, hereforth and hitherto.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're an illegitimate child, I'm just saying real quick. Anyway, let's listen to this. Let's continue listening to this insanity shit because it's the disrespect for me.
But look, let me tell you this, right? My parents, my parents were married, right? But then when they got divorced, my mother needed social services, and my mother got social services for me and my sisters. It was, at the time, it was 4 of us, and I got 4 other sisters. My oldest was grown and out the house. She got that, and all her kids was within the marriage. So what's the problem? And my mother never worked. How about that? My mother felt like, hey, let somebody else pay for my kids. She was married too. So this is what I'm saying. This mentality of why should the government take care of your kids? My mother felt like that. She was married, did everything the whole way. Like, she was a kept woman. And then she felt like, fuck it. If you don't do what I say, the government gonna take care of me. She was married, had kids within marriage. Are you okay now with what happened? Because it's the same situation. Like last I checked, why is it okay when a married woman take that ideology, but not when a single woman take that ideology? If it's wrong, right? If a child was born in marriage or not in marriage, if a child need food, the child need food. If a child if people can't afford eggs, it don't matter if they was born in a marriage or not. People need to eat. Like, this is what I'm saying. This is that elitism that's kind of reeking off of your neck. And it's really not smelling good. It's smelling like jealousy. It's smelling like hatred. It's smelling like, yeah, you wish you had some stamps, even though you acting like you glad that you don't. But it's like, I don't know. I kind of get that. I can't understand why you'd be jealous, but it's reeking that you want. It's something about this circumstance that she feels angry about, but it has everything to do with her, because I'm not understanding the fuck you mean by the government shouldn't pay for your illegitimate kids, as if the government should pay for your kids at all in a marriage. Like, why should the government care about that?
Living rent free in America. But you know what I noticed? There's 2 drips, and that's not a new drip. Drip zone has been here for a long time, as well as the drip zone. So, sir, you're not getting any more candy. No more gummies, nothing. I am being ambushed. Oh no, thank God I don't have food stamps because they was saying I can't feed my kids. But Woo, child, things are going to get easier. But it is elitist, and they're not talking about the illegal immigrants situation though. So y'all are willing to fight for illegal immigrants, illegal immigration, and they should be here, and we should be holding up the government to give them medical benefits because this is what's stopping the CR from being clean. The fact that they don't want to pay that. Yeah, Lola, talk real quick. Let me get these kids.
Look. Here's the thing, right? The government got money for shit y'all don't even understand. And everybody, like, again, GDP budget 1.8 at the highest is what they spending on all social services. And I mean, like, for farmers, for, immigrants, for like illegals, for regular people, for housing. Just 1.8% at the highest, and under a circumstance that wasn't normal, like a pandemic. 1.8. And y'all acting like for some reason you more upset about paying out money than the government. Like, I don't believe you. You need more people. You need a lot more people to convince me of that shit. I'm not the one. I can't. And I won't. I'm not going.
And guess what? The holdup that they're doing over the medical spending that they want to spend on illegal immigrants, because I'm fair and unbiased, it's just marginally above what they're spending on SNAP.
But they're not upset about that, though.
No, they're not upset that their congressmen and their senators are getting large paychecks
to do nothing.
$250,000 or more.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not serving the American right, and they're not serving the American people.
Mm-hmm. Got federal workers in the social service line and shit because they don't have no job. Yeah, and they need their money.
According to Sherelle and Lucky, they should be spayed or neutered because now they're going to social services to try to get some help because they're furloughed from their government job, while they still have to go to work and clean toilets and empty trash cans for
and
people
not be
for people that are making $250,000 and not be paid. See, the problem that we have in America is a lot of y'all motherfuckers are delusional. A lot of y'all motherfuckers talk shit on the internet all the fucking time and wanna punch down. See, they thought they were punching down on tyranny. And I'm sure if tyranny decided that she wanted to open up them damn books and show you what her family is really working with, a lot of people would be shocked and awed. Because we know she has a very high ceiling, higher than the median average salary in America. Let's continue listening to these women do what it is that they do.
Somebody in Florida, wait a minute, working at NASA, what, at Cape Canaveral? Shit.
And
don't tell me that
shit, girl. Child. Let's continue.
But like
they can't afford their kids.
The rich gets help, but you're complaining about the poor.
They can't afford their kids.
She just literally introduced herself in the conversation as a person who's affected by the EBT crisis. And it's struck. I don't get it. Why would you insert yourself if you didn't want to make yourself the example?
Because rich people take care of their kids. Rich people are on food stamps. Rich people are on Section 8.
At what point did she say she wanted to be the example? See, this is another thing that I'm frankly sick and tired of with these no-count mother in these spaces. This is a person that has the ability to give an opinion when a link is dropped and the panel is open. What she is saying is very much valid. Or are y'all not aware of corporate welfare? Did you forget about the Fannie Mae housing crisis where all the banks were bought out? The total amount of what they spent to bail out all the banks during the Fannie Mae housing crisis was more than they've spent on food stamps in the past 5 years.
Well, here's the thing: when you go to college, you kind of learn about macroeconomics, as well as microeconomics, and you understand. You take statistics classes and stuff like that. But if you've been working on, your high school diploma or some shit, you would say some dumbass shit like, like that, like what she's saying. You would hear that and not hear what she's actually telling you. which is that corporate spending that they do when corporations and banks and so on and so forth fail, and they just start printing money out of nowhere, fucking up the economy. Like, they're doing more bailing out for them than they will ever do for poor people, period, per capita. And it's like, you should know that if you've been to college. You should know that if you took high school government or some shit. Like, why would you look at her like she's talking shit or like she's talking crazy? Because she's saying, why? She's asking you, why aren't you this upset when it comes to like what the government is doing for people who clearly don't need government funds? They don't need, if you build a bank and that shit fail, why should the government come and save you? Nigga, you a millionaire. Why you can't do shit with being a millionaire, trillionaire, whatever? But the government is there to make sure that its people have a safety net so that they don't bottom out. You don't give a safety net to the people all the way up in the motherfucking clouds. That ain't what we trying to do here. But that's exactly what tyranny is showing. That happens every day. But it's like, if you got the same energy for both sides, cool, no problem. But if all you got energy for is a minority of a minority of a minority, you in the wrong conversation. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna take Illosophical's position. You're not scholarly enough to debate me. Fuck out of here.
Not scholarly enough.
No, I got a show I gotta do with him soon. He was talking shit. And Bruce and shit. And I was like, yo, he not scholarly enough. What? But nah, I see that shit. I see that. And it is what it is. But yeah, y'all in the wrong conversation if she said that